exclusively on StreamBlast today. We're talking about quite possibly the best thing to come out of Phase 4 and 5 of the MCU. That's Loki Season 2. This, like I said, is the land of streaming. Guys, I am your host. Oh, shit, wrong person. Who is that man? And of course, you can find him right here on ScreenBlast. And of course, I am Bryan the Baltimorean. Find me at fdemocracy.com. Find me right here on ScreenBlastPodcast.com. That is the man himself.
Caught me in the middle of
Martin.
Pez.
You just got cut off. Anyway,
Martin,
the man himself.
How are y'all doing?
Pez. I'm eating Pez.
We don't care what you're eating. You keep cutting him off. He's trying to introduce himself to the people of America.
It's fine.
And
you folks want some Pez?
And Germany for some reason. I don't know what's up with that. But hey, we got, multinational, community here. So
Pez.
You're right. We're not sponsored. Get out of here. All right. Of course, guys, over at StreamBlast, we are part of a wider collection. Now, we just recommend you check out everything in our wider collection here, including ScreenBlast, our bombastic feature film discussion podcast, Cartoon Chat, which we focus on animation, Blasting Turbo Ports, our video game focused conversation, and of course our memified discussions with Mark and Bryan Havocow. Then we've got StreamBlast, where we are today, and like I said before, we're talking about Loki. Now usually we would talk about what we're streaming, but we're gonna zoom past that because this gosh darn show is so good, unless you guys have anything you really want to talk about. But I think we could just zoom right past that and get to the crux here.
I'm not gonna go in depth.
Totally not because of a time crunch, but because
I'm not gonna go in. Oh fuck.
He's got stuff to say, guys.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go in depth, but like I just want to give a shout out. New season of Rick and Morty. Even though his new voices, it's still Rick and Morty. Still pretty good. Watch it and watching Captain Laserhawk, the Ubisoft crossover show. That's also really good. And that's about it.
Okay.
More on those later. Another day.
Cool beans. And anything from you, Martin?
You.
Alright, we are going to zoom our way to Loki Season 2, ladies and gentlemen. It's been
I've been pulled through time between the past and the present and the future.
Everything is turning to
Loki Season 1 was, some say gosh darn fantastic. Whether you liked it or not, there were some interesting characters, an interesting journey.
You hated it.
Okay, so here's the difference, right? In comparison to Loki Season 1 and what we've seen of Season 2, Loki it was like, I was getting too tired of all these fucking Loki variants, right? I was like, how self-centered do we have to make this show? We had this Loki, we had that Loki, we had this. I know it's all comic related, but I was like, gosh darn it, can we get out of this factor of like, well, Kid Loki thinks this, well, Alligator Loki thinks that. I don't give a fuck how many Lokis there are. I just, fucking Christ.
You're gonna hate the multiversal Avengers.
Well, here's the thing: and that's probably when I'm 30 and I'm out of this whole,
Kang got anything to say about it, it's gonna be pretty.
So.
If we get Kang, fucking Jonathan Majors gotta fucking clear his shit first.
Yes. So here we are at Season 2, and let's sit back. Let's talk about this show. I don't know about you guys, but I think this show brought me back to the fear and power that we should have with Kang. It brought back this allure of quality to the MCU. I have not felt happier to be a fan of the MCU, especially a couple days later seeing the Marvels and being disappointed. That little short period of time where I had watched Loki and not seen the Marvels yet. I was more than ever back in the saddle of being an MCU fan again. What about you guys?
It's weird because I felt like this show made me feel like upset of being a fan of the MCU because it was like, shit. If the rest of the movies and shows were like this good and consistent, everything this fucking show establishes would be really exciting for the future. Mm-hmm. But it's like, this is a good show on its own. But like, it's like, whatever it sets up, we're not gonna... I feel like we're not gonna get like the follow-up to for a very long time. if like they fucking go a different direction because they constantly keep changing directions. Probably not at all. But like it's still on its own. It's a good fucking show.
Yeah, what did you think?
I also agree with Mark, but except the part where the concept it could in turn be right around the corner since it has directly to do with Kang. It depends on what they decide to stay with Kang and not switch over to the rumors of Doctor Doom. So I enjoy the whole concept of the entire season.
I know, but the thing is, like, we saw a lineup, so like, where would another like Kang story even fit in? I guess
like quite a few of them. I feel like, right?
It been,
couldn't you do
in any one of those videos, any one of those shows that's coming out? Or
what if Deadpool 3's villain is Kang?
I'm like,
what if it's a goofy Kang?
It could like
what if it's the most awesome Jonathan Majors we've ever seen, and it super works? Now that I don't know, but
every show I've seen on
it could be like, but like
could in fact have Kang in it.
Right.
There's a variant for any possible scenario when it comes to him. So it sounds like Echo. I see him in anything. What was it? It was, it could be in Captain America. It can be in what's it called? Oh, what's that? And Agatha. He could actually appear in. Dang.
Sorry. I worded that the wrong way. He could appear in anything. The thing is like the Marvel universe is like they've been like fucking finicky with this multiverse shit because every fucking thing that introduced the multiverse introduce it in a like different way from each other, and it's they keep
various concepts of the multiverse.
Yeah,
instead of just focusing on one core concept. And because like when you do have something as big as the multiverse in Marvel Comics, it's gonna get really, really out there. They haven't touched anything beyond what just one multiverse they entered with Monica Rambeau. Like besides Doctor Strange, he jumped through a bunch of them.
Wait, what do you mean that multiverse? That was just now.
And Quantumania, it is a shit ton.
Which is
more.
Technically just they went to the quantum realm and then somehow they went from the quantum realm to a multiverse situation.
Yeah, that's the end of the fucking.
Like I said, it could.
The end of the show, they said like it's there's a Kang variant that's like 616 adjacent, which I fucking hate that because 616 should not be the fucking
code
of this world.
That's of the Ant-Man thing that we heard, right? That's what they're referencing.
I don't care what they think. I don't care what character you say. The MCU is not 616.
Okay. Spider-Verse across the Spider-Verse.
Care.
No, I said across the Spider-Verse fucking corrected them and gave them the right code.
Right. Okay.
But like at the end of the show, they said there's a Kang variant 616 adjacent, and I know for a fact they're not talking about the comics. They're talking about this fucking universe again.
Again, it's a bummer that it's like, hey, here's one writing issue that slipped. I will say, this is peak of streaming. This is like up there with Last of Us to me. This is up there with, I think it's better than Last of Us. Because what you have here is you're strengthening all the characters we've seen before. In fact, you have range that most of these series do not give their main characters or secondary characters, like let alone the secondary characters. The range that Tom Hiddleston is given or requested to push is beautiful. Because when you think about all the Marvel shows out there that we've seen, and all the Star Wars shows that we've seen, and even the movies, they don't get as much range as this. This was phenomenal. Almost every second. We were talking about the holdovers a few episodes ago. This does just as well every minute, almost every minute. There's a few minutes where it's like a little bit of filler, a little bit of dialogue that's not really necessary. But most of it is very important. Most of it is critical. And I love it so much. I love this journey. I love this journey more than almost any streaming series I've seen in a few years now. Because I don't think there's a better... I think maybe Edge of Tomorrow might be close. I don't think any series or movie that handles time travel better than what they did here. Bar none. Legitimately. This was excellent use of time travel. Fucking fantastic use of time travel.
I agree. I had nothing to change about that. the way that each episode built onto the time aspect of it, and just further, like he go further into the future. It's just moments before he did this and did that, and put it in a way that's made sense to.
It calls back to the first episode
Yeah.
where you're trying to figure out, okay,
and how it just ties right back into everything, and how it makes it so simple for anyone who just watching the episode, even whether they're a comic fan or a normal streamer. Anyone just look at it and go, oh, I get what's going on. I understand how this happened.
Yes.
Even further when they further in the series, the later episodes when they built his powers up to an unbelievable level.
Yes.
It's you still understand how he got there.
Yes.
And all, like you said, the other characters, their little side mini stories, and how it just built up. And it did all this in what, 8 episodes?
Six
Six
motherfucker.
episodes.
Six.
It did all this in 6 episodes.
6, dude. 6.
I learned so much about them. In 6 episodes. And it was just crazy how good it was. I'm over here cheesing and smiling
because it's fantastic. I can't.
Love it so much.
I know,
And that ending, just ooh.
I say like this is a second place time travel story under Dexter's Laboratory Ego Trip.
Go fuck
Where he
yourself.
gets fucking whipped, where like teenage Dexter gets whipped up by Man-Dark in his underwear.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, that's better than all time travel stories. I tell you what. There were great settings. There were great, like, again, that idea of like, I love. By the way, got to talk about Kang here. Jonathan Major's story, the stories. I've been in the news for literally the past 8 months now. He was on top of the world. He was in 2 movies he had just gained the record of 2 movies within the same month that had been #1 for a couple of weeks. Ant-Man, whether or not that, obviously not a good movie, but also Creed 3. And he was a critical character in both of those. Congratulations to him for that record of holding box office success. But within a couple of weeks after that success, everything comes out. What's so interesting here is his character you have to be sort of sympathetic for, but you're like kind of hesitant about it. And because he's a mad scientist, or this variant is a mad scientist. And whether or not you think it's overplayed, I know that he enjoyed it. I know that what they gave him, it's like, wow, this is okay. I like this. I like the idea, and he plays it very well. And but he's just being dragged along, and it's like, damn, and obviously he's a swindler, but it's like you're just trying to drag him along for a reason that it's like for your own gain, and it's not good. And he's a variant of a monster, but he doesn't know that. And so it's like at times you're a little sympathetic toward this character, and there are little moments that are fantastic that call back to each other over and over again. Again, we talked about this with the holdovers. Excellent writing that wraps back on itself. When Ouroboros and Ouroboros and that one nerd that was just in the office, the office guy that's just smart, meet each other. And it's like, oh, you're Ouroboros, can you sign this? And then it comes back later when the scientist is like, you're Ouroboros, can I have your signature? No, can I have your... Oh, and they're just... I loved everything about...
Victor Timely.
Victor Timely.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. But I loved everything about those moments of like, just they're intrigued with each other. But it's genuine. Everything about, obviously, I can't think of the actor's name, but obviously he's from Everything Everywhere All at Once. It felt like they just had him play the role that he already played in Everything Everywhere All at Once, and that's fine. But
brilliant.
I love it. I think it fits, and it fits for what story they're telling. I also think that he brings charm, even more charm to the situation. God, man, I could spill so much about. And I'm not. I mean, spoilers, obviously, but I could keep going. Like, there's the what about you guys? God, so good. And again, yeah, I'll go. I'll say some more. But Mark,
Oh yeah, Martin, go first.
I mean, I would finish. You said something, then it was over you.
I'll keep it going then. Fuck it. So the whole, again, that these last 3 episodes episode 4, 5, and 6, right? Love, and I mean love, that he gets spaghettified. Now, the entire lead up and everything is a subversion, but something tells me, and I was thinking about this, something tells me that the MCU making him get spaghettified, because they did this like several times, I feel like that's them saying, fuck you for what you did. Like, like, fuck you for doing this, and now we might have to rework everything. So they have him die. They have him die like a dozen times on top of a dozen more times, and we see him die like so many times. Obviously,
I like how they get creative with his death more. Like at one point, you just see his skull.
Yeah, it's again like this loop, and again like fuck like what I love so much is. Again, I don't think there's a better Kang variant than what we got than the first one we saw in season 1. And seeing him again, it's like that presence. Jonathan the Majors is too good because the presence of that original Kang, it's like, I miss you so fucking much. You are better than what we've seen from any of them. You've got this presence. You are wittier than any of them. Loki has to restructure his own mind. It's like, and I love how video game-esque it felt, because at first it felt like maybe this is going the Dormammu route. No, this is going the route of like a video game where you pause and you look at the instruction manual. It's like, can I ask a question real quick? And it's like, yeah, you can. Fuck it. I don't know why you didn't ask this before. How long you been doing this? 100 times? 1,000 times? How many more times are you going to do this? Because you're doing it like
Actually,
fuck the writings.
I like
fuck, man. I could watch this all over again.
The whole time that it took him centuries in order to get to where he knew, and he was willing to do that. Because you think about back to Loki, from where he originally was,
yes,
getting to this point where he was willing to go centuries and centuries and centuries in order to learn and look to learn what Obi and Timely had to teach him in order to be able to do anything he needed to do when he got to that point in time.
Yeah.
And he did that so many times that he got to the point where he just knew,
Loki,
like he knew exactly what was going to happen, what was going to happen, to the point down to put the tape right here. Oh, make sure you don't set it down. It's going to roll off. It's just
he knows everything. He knows what everyone's going to say beforehand.
Yeah, and you can tell that some of them started catching on, like Sylvie and what's his name? His best friend.
Owen Wilson.
Oh, he was
You need to say Owen Wilson.
He was
yeah, Morpheus. Mobius, I mean.
Yeah. Like, you can say he started catching on to the label, but it didn't even matter because this is just another mistake he was having to make. And it took him all the way to get to the point where he finally figured out, oh no, this isn't going to work. Even if it took him centuries to realize it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got to figure out another way to...
So he goes even further. He goes back. Then he goes further back. Then he goes to, like we said, the end of time itself. And
he meets Kang again.
Yes.
And
the fact that it's like, again, he keeps trying to persuade Sylvie, and it's like you're not gonna get that into her thick fucking skull.
And he's just like, listen,
you're just not.
How many more times you gotta go through this before you realize, like, I don't count. You could just
fuck. I'm gonna have to kill her. I guess I'll ask for permission first. And Sylvie's like, no, you can't fucking kill me. That's not the solution.
Yeah.
She didn't really so much say you can't kill me. She's like, I'm not giving you permission to kill me. What the fuck wrong with you?
Yeah. Well, I'm summing it up. I always do that.
But and then he goes back, and then they tell him like how. And then I love the drop. I love the drop when he was like, when he's telling like, you can do this over and over again. He's like, oh, you can learn how to pause time, and then he decides that he shouldn't pause. He's like,
you get a great moment going back to the first episode of season 1.
I think legitimately that the climb of Loki understanding it is. This section might be some of the best MCU content ever. Because it's him. Excuse me. It's him. It's not only that you are strengthening. You're not only telling the audience, oh, this is what Kang had to go through. This is how smart he actually is. It's not just that he's saying all this stuff, because he's saying it with the arrogance in season 1. You're like, yeah, you might know this, but if you're not a comic book fan, you don't know what levels he's gone to get to this point. When it's like, oh, here's Loki, and he's so close, but he's so far away at the same time. It's like, he's so close, but he's not there yet. And he gets to that point, like, my God.
Also,
and, like,
this was
but Loki's mastery in that moment of, like, I can control time. I know how to do it now. I know how to, it's like, that is what everyone has, like, fuck, like that is what I think, you know, if you think about just what he could be at his best, like the max potential, it's like that is undescribably awesome. And to see a character finally go through this, because again, we've seen that in phase 1, 2, and 3. We haven't really seen progression like that 4 and 5 outside of Spider-Man's final movie. And here we are, and Loki gets it, and it's like, he's at this point now more noble than Thor, to me, I think.
Yeah. Because he basically he always wanted to be the role of the one on the throne.
Yeah.
Like he's the protagonist. He is going to be him at the end, and it did turn out to be him in the end. But he's not the protagonist. He realized, like, oh, I'm actually a support character. I'm here to hold on to this universe and give the heroes a chance to actually
to
do
live
something.
and survive.
Yeah, I'm going to.
He sacrifices himself.
So in order to give them a chance to do what they need to do.
Very much like Atlas.
Yes, like Atlas. Yes, Atlas. Because that's what he's based. That's what this is based off. It's based off a story of a dude named Atlas, who's based in Marvel. Yeah, this is Atlas is the custodian of the multiverse.
Well, Atlas is a
isn't there like a
story?
I remember hearing there was like a version of Loki in the comics where he is like a rewrite. He can rewrite the.
Yeah, that's God of Stories, but that's not what this is based off of. I know a lot of people think it's God of Stories, but it's actually the custodian of the multiverse. He basically sits on a throne like that, and he just allows all of the multiverse just to pass through him, and he feeds them the power and keeps them from basically falling apart. Yeah. And that's what he's doing right now, and that's really good. I feel like this is like
the only like Marvel show that that actually delivers on its cliffhanger between episodes, because like every other Marvel show, it's like it like there's cliffhangers between episodes, but like sometimes my expectations for it are like higher than what it delivers, and I just end up disappointed in some way.
Or it's a cliffhanger that leads to another cliffhanger, and that doesn't end.
That's still a disappointing result.
Oh no, I know that's a terrible result. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly, but like even like another like good Marvel show I like from beginning to end is Hawkeye. Even like even that one had certain plot points like, okay, I think they could have added this and would have been better. Even though I love that show, I was like, I think this one did a lot better.
I'm like, I keep telling him, like, Hawkeye is really good. Everybody keep forgetting it. And I'm like,
yeah, Hawkeye was so good. Hawkeye was great from beginning to end.
I was like, this is really good. And people just keep forgetting it. But back to Loki, like, I like that the conversation between the two of the characters in between the He Who Remains, the conversation. At least it turns the conversation they had back in season 1 on that last episode of that
on its head. It is,
because if you think about it, because like he's not talking
so good.
He's actually talking to Loki because he knows everything that's going to happen.
Yeah,
he doesn't know how many times Loki has done it already.
Exactly.
But that means that he knew that the whole conversation he was talking to Loki, not Sylvie and Loki, but just to Loki.
Just to Loki.
He was like, "This is," it was like. It's like that whole conversation was just him and Loki. I love that so much.
What's funny?
Even when when he said like "see you again," he was like you think he's talking to someone when she stabbed him. No, he was talking to Loki. Like
no, of course, no, exactly, yeah, exactly, yeah. See you again, and it's
and I know that he's gonna keep doing it over and over again.
See you soon.
I
like how it kept happening off screen.
Yeah.
It's like you just hear, see you soon. See you soon.
and it's so amazing how they did that. It just, and then I think he finally got that throne that he's glorious purpose.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to call the episode, the final episode. Yeah, what do you think, by the way, about, like, episode 5 is interesting because you get, again, that's more of that time stuff, but I love that they fracture everyone off, and So episode 5, I think, starts in a very interesting way. I don't want to obviously spend all this time on every single episode, but like I love the fact that we start episode 5, right? And this is when everything, the loom explodes for the first time. We think that he understood it. The loom explodes. He thinks he's dead. He wakes up. He's in that main office area. He sees himself. And then it was like, it's spaghetti. Something happens, and then it loops, right? Like he sees himself reading the book. He picks up the next time we see him. He picks up the book, sees himself in the past. It's like, okay,
everything is one big loop.
One big, yeah, and then and then but then he time skips. But one of them, like I love the idea. One person's in Alcatraz in 1962. You have the agent, the TVA big agent that's in New York in 2012, which I hope she's not one of the people killed in the fucking Avengers attack, but alternate her timeline. Boom, she's sitting there in the event in New York as a children's doctor. You have Obi, who was in Pasadena, California, with his failed books and all that shit. And then you have, it was cool to see that Mobius was selling jet skis. Whether or not it's a good job, but he's satisfied in life. He's cool with it.
Episode 6 to me was a fun spin on, the movie Groundhog's Day.
You mean 5?
Did it end at 5?
What? Ended at 6. What are you talking about?
Episode 6.
Oh,
you're talking about episode 6?
No, go ahead, 5. Yeah, 6.
I was just talking about 6.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh yeah, episode 6 was a fun spin on Groundhog's Day, where he's controlling. But he's controlling his the freaking the day starting over though.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's it's that reverse. And we've seen.
I love whenever shows or movies do a parody or do their own type of Groundhog Day stories, because it's a fun concept where the day just keeps restarting for the character, but they just they know everything is they just keep either making the day worse or improving upon it, and just trying to get progressively better as the day keeps repeating itself.
Yeah. What I will say is, again, this is a show that does a really good job of pacing and just letting characters have dialogue moments. Genuinely good dialogue moments. You have moments between, many moments that are great between Sylvie and Loki, and Obi and Loki, and Obi and Mobius, and Mobius and Loki, and these are valuable moments, like the key lime pie thing that comes back later is awesome. It's just chef's kiss. What that scene meant for the fact that he didn't want to unravel the truth and didn't want all that stuff. Let's see.
I like the episode 6. I like to have how they continue to go out into the stretch, and how Victor, he kept disintegrating, but then we show the Loki, who is a god.
Yes.
Who throughout the series they were trying to play God, like Sylvie saying we're playing God, and she's like, we are gods, we're able to do these things. These are things we can do, and basically in the end it's showing her this is, as a god, this is what we were going to do, because you notice throughout that whole time he was sending Victor timely out there, because he was getting other people to do it, because you know how you ever watch back in Ragnarok now in
Ragnarok,
and you saw him sitting on a throne pretending to be Odin.
Oh yeah.
And what he was doing, he was just sitting there having other people do everything for him, and he was just feeding himself. Basically, that same concept was here in Victor Timely, because he kept sending Victor Timely down to do the same thing. But then he himself decided okay, I get it. I'm a made for doing things of this caliber. And I love how, as he's walking down the path, his robes show up, he gets his crown back, and it's trying to symbolize
this is where you are supposed. This is what you were.
You are a king. You are a king, but this is the king that you're
meant to be.
This is the king you're meant to be. You are meant to sit on the throne. This is where you're meant to be.
Yes.
And that whole concept of him walking to the throne, finally deciding to sit on it, giving everyone a chance to live and fix things before everything goes to shit. Everything, spoiler, everything will go to shit. That's gonna happen.
I do. Yeah, I do love that this is as important as something like this. This is as noble as obviously Tony's death, because of course, it felt very familiar to like when Doctor Strange goes and points and has the the finger one. But it's more it's more noble because he's there forever. Whereas Tony, it's just I have to do this and it's over.
I don't know if he's able to get up though. I
doubt it.
Like, because because
he's changed. He's Atlas. He's changed to where he is. Yeah.
So okay. So if it turns out that he can't get up, because there are some concepts that can lead.
I'm sure they're going to use this character. I mean, it's like
they better. This better ties into something. I better see this in the movies sometime down the line. Or just
it also.
I want Thor. A good Thor.
I would love Thor, but they fucked up.
To me, no. I want to fix Thor in another movie, and then have him and Loki meet, and him to see what Loki has become. And I also want. If I ever get a chance, I'm sorry, I would like him just to touch the hammer, and see if he can pick it up.
Yeah, I just don't think. I don't think this Marvel universe can construct that unless the writers. Unless the writers of Loki were the ones to oversee the rest of the MCU, because I think these are the writers that understand lore building and true story construction and long-term legacy building and how to stretch characters and how to connect them with relationally. And
are the same writers responsible for season 1? And you didn't like season 1?
If you can build on season 1 the way that you build on, because again, I don't like the Lokis, but I liked Mobius, and I liked, to a degree, some of Sylvie's stuff in season 1. I liked the premise in some ways. I didn't like where it stood at certain points in time. I don't want to spend too much time on that. Again, I said before, and I'll say it again, I never liked how they just threw those stones at your face like, well, this person died for these, and they're pointless here. That's like if Loki's sitting on this throne, and then in 10 years from now we learn, Loki's sacrifice was pointless because there's an even bigger guy, and that bigger guy has a mustard machine. That mustard machine can take all those fucking noodles and kill and get when he loses his grip of the fucking timelines, and thus shit goes left. Like, that's what I mean. Like, so, but at the end of the day, I think it's a testament that I did not like season 1. I was not a huge. I did not like portions of season 1, like you were saying, Mark. But I love season 2. I think that's a testament to how good this season is. That it pulled me back in completely. Like, I could have been like, I don't give a fuck, and here I am, praising this thing, thinking it's probably the best thing that we've seen from the MCU since. Not since fucking Infinity War.
Far From Home?
No, Infinity War. This is better than anything since how well executed the team up in Infinity War was. Especially for what it means for the MCU, how they wrote all the characters. The settings were interesting. What did you guys think of Chicago 1860? I thought that was a beautiful idea. I thought it was well executed. I thought it was pretty cool. We got a little bit of that Sherlock Holmes energy in Chicago.
I wish it didn't. I wish it was more than just a Ferris wheel fight with Sylvie at the end. I wish it was those. I wish I had spent more time there, and also I kind of didn't like Miss Minutes in that episode.
Oh, you mean Horny Miss Minutes?
That one.
That whole stretch was weird. I'm sorry. That is the only thing that I guess.
I'm not saying.
I'm sorry.
I've seen computers.
You reminded me. I wrote I wrote this in my notes. I can't believe I didn't write it in my. I didn't remember.
Vision. Damn. I know the same thing happened with Vision, but this was a lot more.
It was getting weird. And it's like, all right.
It's like, cause in the whole, you could tell that they both was like doing that whole. They were both in love with him. They were trying to
attempt to build themselves a part of him. Like, if we can be a kind of succubus, then we can build this empire together.
Oh, but then he ditches both of us. So now fuck off.
Yeah, I will say that scene in the lab where it's just him and Miss Minutes was very like, now build me a body so I can fuck you. Like, okay, where are we? Hey, Loki, hey, writers, get out of your fan fiction because you were great for 99%. we're doing a little much here. Like, I understand. She had passion for him. But I don't need to know that she was so mad that she is like, it's like, well, he didn't build me a body.
They also do a good job of showing the King and Victor Timely when he was so willing to just dismiss them when they decided to say, build a partnership. The King works alone. So by having him immediately just do a 180 on whatever they were doing as soon as they said partnership was like, I thought that was a really
it was great
way just to flesh out his character in that time and to show everyone like, even if he's not the king or one of those kings, he is still a king. So don't let the stuttering or the weakness fool you. This is a king.
Yes. Yeah, I was trying to give Mark an entry in if he had anything to say like this, but instead he just used his own fucking willpower and cut the camera back to us.
Yeah, you guys are kind of going at it.
Oh, you didn't have. I didn't know if you had any, because we had.
I did, but I lost track of what I was going to say, so I was just gonna let you guys go at it.
Gotcha. What did you think, by the way, of the mad scientist? The mad scientist board?
Oh, you're talking to me?
Sorry. You actually. Yeah. What did you think of the? Because it was over a little. At first, I had to get used to it, and then I realized, well, this is what he's a mad scientist. He's fucking Einstein. He's crazy mad scientist, and I think Jonathan Majors. Timely.
You talking about when he was on stage?
He was on stage. He played because that's the first time. Yes, and he plays it, and it's.
I'm usually not good with names. That's a funny name. I can't forget that one.
Yes.
And also, the King makes fun of it later. So how was Victor Timely?
And the fact that just tells you how good of I love that guy. I love that variant. Is why Jonathan Majors has to be the one. Like, they have to ride the
I like how this whole series makes Ant-Man. I like how this whole series makes Ant-Man Quantumania.
Well, they can't once he's found guilty.
It makes the events of Ant-Man Quantumania even more worthless.
Oh, 100%. Because that Kang, it sucks because that Kang has all the bite or all the bark that he who is at the end of the world has, but has no bite really because he dies by ants.
Also, I correct something I said in the previous stream. I think he is dead. I thought about it again, like maybe he is dead because they were so willing to kill Kang.
Oh no, because again they casually mentioned they're just gonna the TVA is just gonna take care of him. Because there was this. They just casually mentioned there's this Kang variant that's 616 adjacent that we're trying to take care of, and it's they're talking about the
one for Quantumania.
Yep.
So that confirmed that he basically did. So I do correct that what I said before. Imagine
an important franchise movie being a part of a universe, being part of a universe adjacent. That's how pointless that movie was. It wasn't even a part of real. And obviously, we already know 616 is not correct. But I'm saying being called 616 adjacent means that's how pointless this whole event or this whole sequence was. It's not even real. It's just the off-brand. That's not the real dish liquid. That's not Dawn. You got the dollar store kind.
I guess because Quantumania still isn't
movie of it.
The Quantumverse still isn't well explained in that fucking movie. It's like the end of time, or it takes place between the end of time. But TVA is wherever they were was the end of time.
The worst of times.
Yep. I do want to bring up. So they travel in 1977. Again, there's just some cool set ideas. They travel to 77. They're all dressed up really all the actors and all the actresses get to really embrace these sequences. And it's awesome. It's this is cool. You're in 77. You're in a different point in time. The same thing as the Chicago's World Fair thing. The same thing where, different people are in different times toward the end of the movie. The series. It's so cinematic that you think, boom, movie. It's awesome. And, again, I'm just, Ouroboros was given the request to play husband character and everything. Gets the orbital extractor. By the way, the first time that we get it, the first time we get the time travel, the time jumping, and we get to understand what time jumping is the most interesting exposition dump probably in the MCU as well. where it's like he's going back in time. He's going same spot, but because Ouroboros has been there for so long, he's going back, same room, and explaining it. And that through that explanation, it explains to the audience because he's saying it out loud to Mobius in the present. And it's like I was like, oh, this is when I watched the episode, I was like, oh, this is good. Oh man, this was sweet stuff. I really do love what you guys are cooking up in the writers' room right there. A plus, A fucking plus. Yeah.
Speaking of OB is such a great character.
Obi is fantastic.
I enjoyed every moment he was on the screen. It's just the way he acts to the things he say, and also like the fact that he just knows the TVAs but so freaking well, and he quoted to the Victor.
He is the lore master.
Yeah, and like a lot of time at first I was thinking to myself, is he Kang? Because he was just.
He knew so much.
I was just like, is he? But then then you get to the episode, it's like, oh, he's just some librarian who was trying to get everyone
trying to get a successful book.
Which means
that was writing fictional stuff that was actually part of the TV.
I don't understand. Maybe I can't remember they explained it in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
What is their criteria for choosing these people to take out of time?
Well, I don't remember much about the season. See, I haven't seen season 1 since
because I get OB because maybe he's super intelligent, but I don't get the woman or
the guy that was in prison.
Yeah, like are these just variants you? It's just variants you steal.
It's just variants. It's like kind of the Thanos randomness of 50%, and it was like, all right, 50% of the population.
But because it makes me think that Kang set this up for them to show up because he happens over and over again. So he is the way he had, because Loki did the same thing that Kang did again, yes. Like recruiting them over and over and saying, "I'll return you back to this when your dance is done." And then he goes to get Mobius, and then he goes to get the girl, and then he goes to get the guy and OB, who basically knew everything. Who even before he knew everything, but his science fiction, like he's such a great character.
He's a great character.
I just love. I hoped that he appears in everything to do the Loki for now.
It went back to me.
Yeah.
If I put the camera in,
what happened? Yeah. 1982 McDonald's was cool. A little adorable scene. Adorable scenes, you know. You get in person, you get the whole rigmarole of the 82 McDonald's. That was, again, these are just interesting ideas. They could have done the volume, which they've done for The Mandalorian, for Obi-Wan, for a lot of Marvel shows, where it's just, here's a big screen that we can use that's a little more interactive than a green screen, and we can have people act on it. Or we could actually go to a place that still has an old McDonald's and film it. I don't know. That's fucking revolutionary. And we can actually ask McDonald's, hey, can you actually get the stuff from that point in time that we can then use to...
I love the fucking McDonald's bag. I remember when I went to the airport and got myself some McDonald's, and on the bag it says, as seen on TV, on TV, and it lists all these movies and TV shows, and then at the very bottom of the list, Loki Season 2.
Yeah, it was like a sneak peek type deal because it hadn't come out yet.
It hasn't come out yet, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. It was like a tease for food.
With also them kind of showing off, like, hey, this is what we got. This will be paid for product placements for.
That's right. Yeah, man. I'm sorry. Loki. These are the people. Oh, there was one bit of dialogue that I was like, all right, we gotta. Like, so Loki returns to the TVA, and this was episode 2, and shit's going left, and the timelines are starting, and this is when the timeline terrorists, essentially, the ones that were super reliable or super tight to the original core idea of the TVA, they go and they start bombing timelines, and so they try to cut all those off, and like we see it happening in real time in the office. And then the big security lady goes and says, and they try to make it like dramatic, but she's like, those are people. those are lives. And I'm like, oh, who wrote this? Oh, it's so good. And then this dropped. I was like, yeah, we know they're people. You don't need to say that out loud. God, that was cringy. Never have her say that again. And thankfully, the writing gets better after that for the most part. But man, that was like the most like, who told them? Well, someone might not know that those branches mean that those are lies. It's like, all right, so have this actor say this in the most cringy way possible. God, that was like, a little bit of just a huge bowl of cringe on that delivery there. It just hurt the soul a little bit, you know. Yeah, I just want to make again, just going through. Again, just want to give props, but other than that, we'll wrap it up because it is about time. Victor Tamler was meaning the Loom plan. Again, that timeline plan was cool. They when everyone's in the loom, when everyone's talking about the loom, and it's timely and it's everyone's there. Sylvie, Loki, I can't think of everyone's names, but Ouroboros, Mobius, they're all there and they're talking about the plan. And of course, this is the plan that we see later on. Like a couple episodes later, Loki's so used to all this that he explains it. We hear it from we hear them when they're just theorizing the idea about the loom and how to fix it with Timely and Ouroboros at first back in episode what is this 4, yeah. And then in episode 6, Loki's like, I've gone through this a billion times. It took me centuries. You do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. But in that first time when it's the scientist team, it's like, I love this. I love just having dialogue between characters, and it's like, if there's humor, it's just humor that fits. Not MCU humor. This felt like it was just beyond MCU. It felt so strong. But yeah, man. Yep, good shit.
Yeah, my opinion is their opinion that do a second take of that.
Yeah, swallow.
Also, that scene giving him an even bigger power.
My opinion.
Hey, Martin's trying to say something. You just
like an even bigger power.
All right, back to you guys then.
No, I didn't keep cutting. You got
centuries. He took centuries to learn all of that. Because he knows the color concepts of time.
Yes.
Through that. That's another power boost for him. Because he now is intelligent as of the rest of them because he understands everything.
Yeah, he's at that level. He's not. It's not. Because at first it's like what's interesting. Obviously, is in the beginning of the series. It's like a lot of this stuff. Like there was a moment where, when Mobius and Loki they're sitting down in their little office cubicle and they're trying to figure out how to work this tool out, and then what's his name? The office guy comes in. He's like, "You don't know how to do this? Have you not read the manual?" And then it's handed off to him, right? Because he's a smart guy. By the end, like you said, Loki is so on this chase, and he's built up so much knowledge, and he's built up the skill that he's like, I can do. We do this, fuck it. I can do this like a fucking symphony. And then he moves in, and it's fluid. It's fluid. Any other things that we want to talk about before we wrap up?
I got nothing.
Alright, it sounds like a funeral. Alright, guys, this, I think overall at the end of the day, this was, so, I think the positive and the negative thing about Loki is that it leaves the MCU in a place that is better than ever, while being, I think, more self-contained than ever, because yes, the timelines were branching and things were going in chaos, but now that things are back in order, essentially it wraps up in its own little closed loop. So everything is solved in this section of time. Loki is a stronger character than ever.
Probably the strongest.
He is better than Thor, who, Thor was a cool character at one point. But everything is now closed on this. You can feel comfortable where all these characters are left. And I think, again, that it stinks that this is so self-contained that it's a great way to end. So,
I'm glad the show didn't end up him just going back to Thor.
Yeah, at first I was thinking maybe we're gonna see him reappear and Thor. But we don't need that. We don't need that because he knows his glorious purpose. You know,
Yeah.
he knows his glorious purpose. And, you know, the thing about if Thor were to appear, it feels like Thor would misunderstand the entire thing. He'd try to free him from it instead of it understanding this is where he's supposed to be. Even if Loki said it, and it's like, okay. So I think that this is better in the end. That he doesn't know it, but he is doing something more noble than ever. And this is what...
I'm pretty sure it's sort of somebody like Doctor Strange is going to figure out something like that. They're going to tie into him in some way, and he's going to find out that Loki is there.
No, I would love some Doctor Strange dialogue action with Loki. Yeah, because Doctor Strange needs the same team that did this to work on his shit next. Because God knows they fucked up Multiverse of Madness. So, all right. Overall, guys, this was the StreamBlast podcast for today. Of course, for questions, for content that you want us to cover, send it to us at ScreenBlastPodcast@gmail.com or drop it in the YouTube comments of this video down below. Guys, we appreciate you for watching. Of course, you can find me right here. Oh, shit. Was he going to sleep? You can find me right here on...
No, I was rubbing my eyes.
You can find he's done for the day. It's nap time. You can find me at the Monkey.
No, I literally wasn't going to sleep. I was just like doing.
You sound tired as fuck. You can find me at ethemocracy.com, ATHEMOCRACY.com, or right here on ScreenBlast. You can find this man, the Sir.
Oh well, that's literally my fucking alarm.
I knew that was going to go off at a certain point. You can find the Sir himself. Where can they find you?
Right here, because I still don't have anywhere else to go.
You can go to Bryan's house.
And of course, you can find the man that was asleep 30 minutes ago.
And Bryan's house on his bed. They sleep in the same bed, folks. This is canon.
What? This is canon? Like in the Across the Spider-Verse?
Yes, it's a canon event. Bryan, you have to get on your knees. It's a canon event.
Alright, say where you are. Fuck, we're trying to end this thing. You're over here just like staring at the screen like a fucking like Joe Biden. What are we talking about?
I want to go home.
Got corn pop with the marshmallows. Can you say where you are?
Yeah,
Fuck,
we're doing bits.
Finish it.
We're doing bits.
Oh my god.
That's your fault. You should have continued the bit.
Christ, we're gonna find you.
I think you can find me. Oh yeah, you can find me at K9 Bits. That's K9BISKUTS. Cool.
.com.
It brings you right to my YouTube channel. You can see videos that are like
you can. Yes,
fucking old.
That's right,
and
guys.
Shit.
We appreciate you for watching. This has been StreamBlast on ScreenBlast. Stay tuned for more.
Log it out, Log it out, everybody. Waka waka.